Peace, everybody. Tranquilidad. Hola, bienvenidos. I'm Negocios con Beneficios. It's the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for mi amiga, Shaneé Moret. How you doing, Shaneé?
I'm doing great, Daryl. How are you?
Good. I thought there was some Spanish in there with the Puerto Rican connection we got going. So J-Lo,
right?
Puerto Rico. Get some energy here on Labor Day because we do not stop laboring because it's a holiday.
Correct.
But thank you guys for tuning in. I want to say thank you to hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay. Please let us know in the comments how you watch the show and let us know where you are. I'm in Georgia and Shaneé is in Florida right now. So how's the weather today? Because here it's okay, but how's Florida right now?
It looks like a rainstorm. So no, I mean it's raining right now.
Well, happy Labor Day either way. I know this is a odd holiday, especially considering where we are with the way the economy is right now. I wasn't taking the full day off. I had to get some stuff done. I know you did too. So for the people that somehow don't know who you are, which I don't know how that would happen, but for the people that don't know who you are, let them know who you are, please.
Hey, my name is Shaneé Moret, and I post a lot on LinkedIn. I post inspirational content for job seekers, business owners, people who want to be entrepreneurs but currently have a full-time job and maybe they want to transition. And then apart from that, I'm the CEO and co-founder of MedSnake Media, and now the founder of Growth Academy, which is the e-learning platform that we're transitioning into as well.
So that's the big announcement, folks. For those tuning in, I got some comments coming in. Shaneé is releasing a brand new platform for people to kind of hear about. We'll get to a little bit deeper into the conversation. Catch up on the comments real quick. Want to say we got Mathisa Gray said hello.
Hey.
Mr. Donovan Smith, happy Labor Day. Hey, Bowtie brother.
What's up, Donovan?
He said Shaneé is awesome. So you got some love from him. And Mathisa's in Canada. Hey, thanks from Canada.
Cool.
Oh, we got another Canada also. Mr. Brian Hamilton's also in Canada.
Live.
Got some Canada love here. So before I forget, you were the reason I've gone live. I remember when we first met. I was, fanboying you and Courtney a little bit. I would like your content and kind of comment here and there. And then I saw that Courtney was in Georgia. I said, oh, I can actually meet somebody from this company. And I went through a tirade like once a week. I would try to meet somebody from LinkedIn in person. So Courtney made my list and I said, hey, let's just have coffee. And she's like, sure. I know in the back of her mind, she's like, whatever, but she's like, sure.
No, Courtney's always up to meet people.
And I saw that, and her son was there and we got to have a good time. And you and I got to talk about Nick Nelson, which is somebody else I was kind of trying to meet in person. So ever since that day of meeting you in person, I stepped up my LinkedIn game. And a lot of people don't know this, but you and Courtney bullied me into my first LinkedIn local event.
Yeah.
That LinkedIn meetup ATL.
Hey, are you going? And you're like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. And we're like, you're going.
They definitely bullied me into going. I'm glad you guys did, because I was in this mindset of like, well, it's nighttime. I don't network at night. I only go in the daytime. And I appreciate you two pushing me to do that, because that definitely changed the way I show up on LinkedIn ever since that day. And you were the first live I did.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Yeah, and I had access before you asked me. That's the funny thing. I had access like a month before you asked me, but I had no clue what to do, and I was terrified.
Yeah,
so,
it's different, right?
It's very different, because I was going by myself, and I'm like, who am I going to talk to? And it was just different. But I appreciate you pushing me for that, because I didn't know how to do it, or if I would even use it. So
I didn't know how to do it either. I just jumped on the camera and started talking and introducing, my network to different people.
Well, it worked out great for you too. So I appreciate that. I have nowhere near the followership that you have, but it definitely is a good medium to kind of get with people.
100%.
And we had St. Louis also here for Coach Love. She's in, I think that's St. Louis. Let me not say that if I'm wrong. Let me know if you mean St. Louis Coach Love. Erica, that is. And she's saying Happy Labor Day. And then we got Wisconsin in the house. A lot of people representing even on Labor Day. So this is an interesting thing. So people see you on LinkedIn, and I know they probably think it's easy. So let's kind of go back behind the curtain a little bit. You and I talk offline here and there and kind of keep it friendly and just talk about life. And getting to this point, what is your day like being a single mom and kind of raising a family with a business? Is it as easy as people think it is to the outside?
No, it's like nonstop, always on go. I, wake up early, go to sleep late, and just it's kind of like how Gary Vee says like he's like a firefighter because he's always putting out fires. It's like not just that, always putting out fires, but also like always building new things, which I love. That's what I love about networking and just growing in general, is that it's a process and you learn as you go. But it definitely requires a lot of energy.
So what's a big misconception for someone that has as many followers as you? What's a big misconception people have about your content creation?
One, they think it's planned, which just, like, it's never planned. But that's just my style. Like some people do better with like a content calendar that it doesn't require a lot of back end development, which is completely wrong. Anyone that wants to grow very quickly is not just like the content. It's more like understanding people. So when you understand people, you could easily create what they want to engage with and what will capture their attention, which you and I know is the sole, like, it's like the number one resource you can get from somebody right now is like demanding their attention through content. So there's a lot of like just thinking and strategy behind just putting out a video. And then, you know, it's always just analyzing the results, looking at the week, looking at the month, seeing how it could have been better, seeing how I could have said this different, so on and so forth, or written this content different, gotten a different result. It's always tweaking and testing.
So I know people probably think like, oh, you have that many followers. It's like you have a team behind you and a production company and all this. So it's really just kind of you being raw with people. I've noticed is just that's the kind of person you are. You're very real and down to earth.
I mean, we have a team, but like, it's just, you could have the best material in the world. Like I could have $1 million camera and like the best team, but like, if you don't understand what people want to see, then you'll never get engagement. So really the production quality really doesn't matter as much as the messaging in the video or in the written content.
Yeah. And you do great with written posts. I mean, it's interesting that written posts are doing so well on LinkedIn. People have been on video for a long time, but you have a great response from just your text posts. So would you say most of your content is written versus video?
Yeah, probably the majority, but I feel like video is still essential. Number one, because it helps develop trust more. So if you're like, if I see somebody that's just posting text content, I wonder why. Like they wouldn't at least post, you know what I mean? Like, why aren't you getting on video at least like once a week? It just increases that trust, especially with people that are the people that you could do business with. They usually are the ones, like I would say that text posts drive a lot of engagement, but video posts drive a lot of business.
I can see that because I mean, I'm sure you probably walk into places and people know who you are already because I've seen your content. Versus the text post, they know your mind, but not really your personality.
Right.
I want to bring your team because you know Courtney Herring and Joy McAdams are part of your team. How did that creation happen? I've never seen you really talk a lot about the creation story of all three of you. How did you all three come together?
Well, it was first me and Courtney. So me and Courtney, she found me, like I started posting my first videos like December 2018, or like the last week of November 2018. And then she had seen my videos very early on and she reached out and was like, hey, and then we started talking. And then from there we launched MedSnake. And then from there the team grew. But I mean, it's kind of amazing because I always say like how one connection can kind of open up a lot of opportunity and like, you know, for you to grow and just learn more and all of that. And it really happened that way. Like had she never reached out, would have never, you know, we would have never seen the opportunity for MedSnake to even exist and that there was a need. And then we grew from there.
Well, let's break down for the day job because a lot of your content doesn't even talk about MedSnake, and I want to make sure we get that out there because you do like I do. You barely talk about your day job just because honestly, anybody can look at your profile and see what you do. But to kind of get the personality behind it, what was the reason you created MedSnake Media?
The reason was because a lot of people in the healthcare space, Courtney was dealing with the billing and the insurance credentialing. So if you understand healthcare, you understand that at that point, like after they get their insurance, they need residents or patients to bill for depending on the facility. So at that point, they kept asking her, hey, do you know anybody in marketing? Because they would need to attract those residents or patients. And she kept referring people to me. So when I noticed patterns very quickly. So after I saw like 4 or 5 people, like I was like, wait a second, like we could do something with this. Like, and then we realized that healthcare facilities like need a vendor for like, let's say website, need a vendor for billing, need a vendor for credentialing, need a vendor for their social media, need a vendor for like 20 things. And we're like, okay, why don't we just become a one-stop shop? Because they don't have time to usually manage all of those vendors effectively. So we became that solution for them.
Awesome. And Joy handles I know she handles more of the concierge kind of stuff. I'd say like the person to person.
Mm.
And she does a great job. I've seen her at all the different well stars out here in Georgia, and she gets around a lot talking to these hospitals. With COVID here kind of right now, you were obviously having a digital footprint, but you also had an in-person footprint. How has the business kind of changed as a result of COVID with the way you guys normally handle marketing relationships?
It hasn't really changed that much. Thank God in that respect, because healthcare really doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Now we can't go into like some of the facilities that we represent, especially like the nursing homes and assisted livings, because of the safety of the residents. But for the most part, thank God that our clients are doing well because they're in the healthcare space and they didn't stop. So we were there for them the whole time. We had to pivot in terms of like maybe seeing them less in person, but we were sure that throughout that process, we were even more communicative, even if it was like apart, whether it be through texting or whatever, more emails, more online meetings, more touch points. We just wanted to make sure that we were there through everything with them.
Makes sense. And I've seen your presence is always here on LinkedIn. So that's the good thing. You didn't have to change that.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't like you had to learn how to make content. So that's the beautiful thing about this, that you guys already were ready for that. But what's the trend you see like for, obviously you've seen videos been kind of explosive lately, but what's another trend you've seen that kind of made you decide to make this Growth Academy, that made you decide I need to make a course to kind of help people?
Yeah, I mean, it was just the demand in my inbox. Like every week I was getting like multiple messages saying, hey, do you have a LinkedIn course? Hey, do you have a course? Hey, do you have a course? Do you have a training? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I was like, okay, like after like the 100th message, I was like, okay, maybe I should do something.
Right.
And then, I put something together, but because algorithms change a lot of people fail when they take courses because number one, they don't have the accountability to go through a course. So they just buy in, kind of go through it themselves. Most of them don't even finish it. Then number two, by the time they learn everything they learned from the course, the algorithm could change. So we wanted to do something a little bit different. So we have ongoing weekly live meetings. And then we also have like growth tracking where we take a baseline measure of like where they are now and, follow them through the months that they keep growing. We've already done this with over 15 people and they've had like amazing results. So
let's talk about that, because obviously there's courses out there. And the thing I like about your course, you've actually done it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I hate when I see LinkedIn courses.
I'm not even going to go there, but listen, I would never teach a parenting course if I didn't have a child.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And that's why I kind of didn't even create one until I noticed that demand, because I didn't want to you can't self-proclaim yourself as like a guru and stuff like so early on. It doesn't make sense. But once I saw the demand from my audience, I knew I had to do it. So
yeah, I appreciate that, because there's so many people that start a LinkedIn profile and you'll see them interview different people, and then you're looking at their profiles like 1,000 connections. How are you?
No comment.
But that brings an interesting comment. Before we get into the meat of the program, I know you're a big open connector, and there's been a heated debate on LinkedIn all the time, like connect with people or open connect. Yeah, people get upset about that. And I kind of see what
realize.
Yeah, people kind of get upset about, especially in certain industries like financial services, like in my space, people are like, oh, only connect with people So talk through why it's important to have multiple connections, whether you can do business with them or not.
Well, because sometimes you don't know if you could do business with them, and you don't know who they could lead you to. So I'll just give you one example is that one of our largest client partner that has turned into a partnership to date happened because somebody random just saw my content for a few months, and then he reached out and said, hey, my friend may need your services. Could I schedule like a meeting? Like, could I like connect you to? I said, sure. And then that led to, that guy wasn't in my industry. I had no idea who he was, but he connected me with his colleague, and we're still working together, and serving them over a year later. And it's been one of our biggest opportunities. So you just never know who someone knows and who is trusted by that person, who they can connect you to. So I've experienced it too much to be so closed-minded and be like, oh, I'm only going to connect with people in my industry, because there's been people outside of our industry that have landed us like amazing connections.
And this leads to a good question we have from Brian Hamilton. He said, what's the next emerging trend you see on LinkedIn that we need to prepare for?
I would definitely say like live is going to get bigger, because on any platform, what they're doing is they're competing for attention. So let's say, especially a big platform like YouTube, they're pushing live, because if a creator can keep someone's attention for a minute or 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 30 minutes live, then they're taking that time away from like traditional TV. So the algorithm's going to favor those content creators that go live at least 3 times a week.
Ooh, wait, you give me a little heads up. I'm already doing 3 times a week. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, no, what you're doing is great. And then also like live is just the most authentic thing you could do. I could take videos all day, but it's just nothing than answering questions on the spot and just being accessible. Like it's the realest thing you can provide to your audience. So it's also a great driver to like really connect with like the most I would say like closest people to that like really follow you and like really connect with your message. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so, because we get hung up on, and I used to joke about when I first went live, if 5 people watch this, I'm happy. But the difference with LinkedIn Live versus like a YouTube Live is that engagement, because a YouTube Live, you probably won't have a message come after to say, hey, let's talk or something. Versus LinkedIn, I made great relationships off of being in comments for other people's lives or people watching my live and then commenting, and we have a conversation afterwards. So it's definitely a deeper relationship than a video does, a text does, a poll.
Right.
So I agree with that. So let's break down the Growth Academy for people, because this is exciting, because you're someone that's done it. And it's been how long on LinkedIn? When was your official start to LinkedIn, just for people to understand?
It's been like 18 months.
Okay, so 18 months. So this is a practitioner. This isn't just theory. And what are some results you've had for some of the people you've had go through this? Like just some average, followership growth or something like that?
Yeah. So most of Chris Hummel, he's gone through this. So he grew from 5,000 connections to almost 300,000 followers in 12 months.
That's a man.
Yeah.
That's massive, people.
Generating over, 20 million views a month. But more than that, it's also like the opportunities, like, because LinkedIn is just full of opportunities. Again, it's like the engagement matters because it like brings people to your profile. So if you could, let's say you're getting 1,000 people a month to your profile, it's just numbers. You have to increase the relevance of your content to change that number from 1,000 to 10,000. It's just statistics. There's gonna be more people you could potentially work with, especially if your profile is optimized. And then that's kind of like the inbound style. And then the outbound style is like outreach. So connecting with people in your target market, connecting with people who have podcasts that like will start seeing your content and then reach out and invite you, which leads to like other things. Like there's been so many magazines that have seen our content like on LinkedIn, and then we'll like use it or reference it in articles online. Then they backlink to us. So that's just, it's, increased our visibility that way. And then there's been people that have screenshot posts on LinkedIn, reposted it to Facebook, and they've gone viral on Facebook. So like people were like being like, hey, I saw your Facebook viral thing. I'm like, I didn't even know until like 20 people messaged me on LinkedIn. Were like, I saw you on Facebook. I'm like, Facebook? And then I realized some girl screenshot my post and it got like 150,000 shares on Facebook.
Oh man.
It was going insane.
Do you play in other platforms, or are you pretty much only on LinkedIn?
I've started to play a little bit with YouTube and just like, like it's growing. Like I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers, but like I have to, YouTube's a little bit different. You have to do more editing and stuff to the videos. So I'm
Yeah.
trying that. Facebook, I do all my lives on there too. And their engagement's growing. Like I'll probably get like 1,000 or 500 views a video, which is like good. Like I'm not even really trying on Facebook. So
Right.
like just Facebook and YouTube.
So Growth Academy then focuses on LinkedIn, which is the money network, as most people call it, where the money is in LinkedIn. So
Right.
what are some concepts people will learn in the Growth Academy so they can understand why they want to join into that?
Yeah, so they'll learn how to not just optimize their profile, like because a ton of other courses or whatever will teach you the basics of optimizing your profile. It's in there, but like also how to differentiate yourself based on your story. Um, Basically how to set goals for networking, how to grow your network faster. And then it comes down to the relevance of the content. How do you create content that people will engage with so that you could drive more people to your profile and then to your website? And then what happens is that I don't know if people are aware, but based on the studies, if somebody from LinkedIn goes onto your website, they're 300% more likely to convert than somebody that comes from Facebook or any other social media platform. So there's like a lot of inbound lead generation tactics. And then that's just the course. And then every single week, there'll be live weekly meetings where it'll not just be like tactics that I'm sharing, but like that Chris Hummel will be sharing and other guest speakers every single week.
And this is what you're doing already. And you notice things with the algorithm changing. So obviously with the attention being a bigger thing right now because of COVID-19,
100%.
you mentioned live being one thing, but what's something you noticed in the last couple like month or so that has been a tweak that helped you with engagement for people to kind of get their appetites wet for a minor thing you change that helped you get better engagement?
I would say that people need to become better copywriters, which is like a huge thing. So it's again, like if you're not positioning your post, like you have to make it as easy as possible for your audience to receive your post. So if your writing is too chunky, if it's too complicated, if it's just doesn't sound natural, then they're not going to stop, they're not going to engage, they're not going to do whatever. So like the financial company Agora, what they found is like all of their viral writing, all of their viral email newsletters and all of that that has generated like hundreds of millions of dollars for them. All of it's written under the 4th grade level. So
That's
people
funny.
overestimate, like, because we're taught in school, like when we write, we have to be so professional. Like
Right.
that's how, so when we go on LinkedIn, a lot of people, the biggest mistake they make is that like when they write their content, even if it's with a video or without a video, they're just in such a professional state of mind and then they miss the mark because people aren't connecting with it. So that's also going to be like a huge part of the training is copywriting because it's so essential just in anything.
Yeah, I've noticed with training some of my agents, sometimes they want to sound extra professional with their emails and words.
Yeah,
And
it sounds fake.
yeah, I'm like, just write like a fifth. I was a fifth grader, was what I always said. Just write it like it's a fifth grader. Because when we think about it, most business owners don't talk that way. I mean, you've been around
Right.
several of them. They don't talk with all these words like that. That's journalism talks that way, but business owners just kind of talk.
I see. So Mathesa, she has like a great question about storytelling, and it's
Yeah, let's put it
actually
up there.
yeah, it's actually an element in the course and one of the main things we'll focus on in the training. Because if you look at my content, one of the main things that I don't do is share information or data or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I share stories, and I'll just explain why very quickly. Um, so Carnegie Mellon did a study where they were seeing how they could raise funds most effectively for African children, and they wanted to raise as much money as possible. So, these kids were in poverty. So one study they did it just with data, like how many kids, what was happening. And I think like the average donation was like $1 and like something cents. Then they shared the story of a little girl named Rokia and like how she felt hungry when she went to bed at night, so on and so forth. They shared no data, only the story. And the
Mm-hmm.
average donation was like $2.40. Then they said, okay, what if we mix both, like a little bit of data and a little bit of story? And then the average donation was like $1.30. So it still did not beat the story. So what they realized is that when they continued the study, was that when you share information, you actually get your audience in an analytical frame of mind, and they're less likely to buy. So when you want your audience to buy, whether it's, your brand, so following you and returning to your content, whether it's your product or your service on your website, you have to put them in an emotional state and you have to keep them there. And obviously the only way to do that is through storytelling. Now, how to do that is a complete science in and of itself, but we definitely get into all of that.
And Christine wanted to add on to that. She said, do you believe that engaging on video is pivotal to growing your brand on LinkedIn? So I know we talked about that a little bit, but do you think it's a requirement to have video to grow your
what do you mean?
engagement?
Like creating her own videos?
Yeah, I think it means her own videos because, most people, I mean, you and I see only like 1% of people make content on LinkedIn. I don't know what percentage make video. You might know that, but what percentage of people are actually making video to your knowledge on LinkedIn?
Not enough. I mean, yeah, but definitely. I mean, even if you're not doing that every single day, it's imperative to post daily, especially when you're just starting and trying to gain momentum. And then video is important because people don't know who you are yet. They don't know your mannerisms. They don't know like your values and they don't know anything. So you have to get out there, and the easiest way for them to remember you is to see you on video.
Yeah, and she said, yeah, she meant her own video. So yeah, Christine, definitely. I know my first video sucked. And that's the thing about this too, I think it's important. I don't know if you ever look back at your first video, but I think it's important for people to know, okay, what was your first video like?
My first video was like, because people didn't know how to pronounce my name.
Okay.
So I was like, my name is Shaneé Moret. And like, that's basically all I said is like, it's pronounced Shaneé. And I was at a coffee shop and I was like, okay, bye. And I said, I'm going to start creating videos on LinkedIn.
But see, that's
a video.
But it's good to see that where you are now versus then, because people think like there's a process to it, obviously, but they think like there was this epiphany and it just came down and she was instantly Shaneé Moret. And like, no, this is how to say my name. I think mine was me at the office just working on a claim or something super boring. And it's just weird that people look at it now and they're like, oh, you're a pro at this. Like, well, you got to start somewhere.
It's just practice, right? You just get more comfortable. Just like the live thing, it freaked me out too. I was like, oh my gosh, like what if I don't say the right thing and, whatever. So I just kept going.
And we got a long question from William that won't fit the screen. It'll cover our faces, I think. Yeah, we'll try it. How would you have felt if Daryl had asked you twice to be in his live show? You're ready in front of your time machine and waited an hour both times. He didn't show up, didn't call, didn't text or email. Would you be upset?
Yeah, we had to reschedule with William. So I need that. LOL. She needs what?
Oh, she wants your first video. She needs to see your first.
Oh, I have to find it.
LinkedIn doesn't make it easy to find it. You literally got to scroll.
Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. Like I wish they had like a video wall like YouTube. That would be amazing.
Yeah, because you got to keep scrolling, and then if your memory runs on your computer, it makes you start over again.
I can't even scroll. Like I can't even scroll probably like 3 months without it. Like, does it kick you off? Like it just like kicks me.
It just stops working. Like it'll just say like the page refreshes or something. And she said, "Thank goodness for the LinkedIn name pronunciation." So maybe your video is the reason they have that feature now. So that.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, no, that's honestly the first video that I did. I was like, just hey, this is my name, and then I just kept doing it. And I just kept testing. Like the main thing is just to look at the data.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, because all these different things you mentioned in your training course, the algorithm changes frequently. So at one point, you might be saying do all video, but then it might change next week and say throw some text in there. What would you say is daily the best regimen for you? Posting daily?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm posting probably twice a day most times. And I know you post frequently. So what's your thoughts when some people say only post once a day versus the several times a day? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it depends on where you are, right? So if you're not posting at all, sometimes saying, hey, you need to post like 3 times a day could be overwhelming to somebody. And then they won't do it. So what we found is like we have like a 90-day posting schedule in there that kind of compounds over time. So maybe the first month you're posting once a day, the second month twice, and then it just builds up from there, because the bigger you grow, the faster you grow if you keep up the momentum.
Ah,
But the first step is being consistent for at least 30 days and then move on from there. A lot of people won't even make it that far.
yeah, and that's the good thing why you have that accountability with your course, because you're going to do once a week. You're
Yeah.
talking with them. So a part of that be kind of, oh,
And
go ahead.
yeah, we'll actually see you post every day, and then we'll have morning reminders for people, like, notifications, reminding people to post every single morning and stuff like that.
Perfect. And then Christine I've noticed that posting close to midnight, I get way more interaction than if I post during the day. Any thoughts on that? Eastern time too. Interesting. Midnight Eastern time. Go ahead. I don't know about that one.
I mean, I post at all hours. Like, we've done the testing. It just really depends on the content. I could post really relatable content 2 in the morning and like 6 in the morning, 3 p.m. It'll get the same kind of, it may change like in the first hour, but over the life of the post, it'll be around the same. So really, it just comes down to, is your content relatable or not? And you can't really measure that unless it's getting good engagement. Because if it's not, then you need to ask yourself why. Like, why is it connecting with more people?
Do you think part of that has to go down to as well that your audience is kind of, they're looking for you more frequently because of your content? I mean, there's always these studies that say post between like 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., but that's probably because that's when most people are on there. But it sounds like for you, your audience is looking for it, so they'll take it any time of day.
I mean, like, no and yes. Like,
Okay.
like, it's hard to like compare where I am now with somebody who's just starting, but
Right.
even we've taken like people that have, started with like 4,000 followers. If they write a really relatable post, that's the beauty about LinkedIn, if you're listening, is that you don't need to have the most number of followers to get the most engagement. So you could have 1,000 followers and your post could go viral and do better than somebody who has 100,000 followers. It's just about how the algorithm works. So that's the first thing, is understanding that. That's a whole discussion. And then, when you understand that, you kind of understand, okay, like, you could start with 1,000 followers and still get massive engagement if it's relatable. So you don't need to have like such a big following to really get like millions of views and like 10,000 profile visits or more. It's just about understanding what people want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I think when people look at larger followings, they say, well, there's no way I can beat that because I don't have the followers. But I was guilty of having low engagement for a long time for my account. A goal for me was like, if I get 3%, I'm happy, because I was doing horrible because I wasn't engaging. So I think that's a big part, like you said, good content, but also showing up. You do a good job engaging people when they comment on your stuff. You actually say something. For some people are posting. Yeah, well, you had a lot, but there's a lot going on, so it's hard for you to do all of them. But that's how you and I met, was going through comments. And some people just post articles and leave.
Yeah.
And there's some people that get away with that, but I think it's because they've been doing it so long that the algorithm treats them as the best curator, because they've been doing it for years. Right. Versus if you're new, Christine, like, much to your point, if you're new and you're posting at midnight, if it's good, people will listen to it. So one more stat I want to have you go over. So you mentioned for Chris Hummel, he went through and kind of grew his followers up over that course of time. Do you have any revenue numbers? Because people always ask, how do you make money from LinkedIn? Because they think it's like YouTube. Like, for FY, I don't get paid for the longer I'm on live. I don't get like a check from LinkedIn for that. So do you have any revenue stats to share with people about?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is a private guy, but he's happy.
Okay. Well, I mean, not just Chris, just in general. I mean, other people you put through it.
No, but yeah, it's all about, like, I mean, you have to, it's different for everybody, right? So some people have a service that if they get one customer from LinkedIn, it's usually that customer is paying for something every month, from them, right? It could be a retainer, it could be like for a product, could be whatever. So you have to figure out like what the average, revenue, I guess, is per customer, like the value of each customer for that particular client. Because for some clients like churn too much, you know what I mean? They're not keeping the same people, maybe because their product or service is just needed once, and then they need like a whole new set of, clients. So if it's like a monthly service, then getting one customer for that person, and then that customer is staying with them for a year, that value compounds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the ROI has just been insane because, again, it's the back end development of it. So you're not just getting tons of engagement because people are like, oh, the vanity metrics, they matter to bring in the traffic. And then once the inbound leads, come in, it's a matter of responding quickly, setting up the phone calls as fast as possible, onboarding them, or, seeing if they're a good fit, all of that. That's a whole process in the back end. And then you're also reaching out to people proactively, let's say 50 to 75 to 100 people a day that you could potentially serve. But when they accept your connection, your content will start dripping into their tunnel, like into their feed. So it's a whole strategy of, like, think of a highway, there's like northbound where basically you're reaching out on the back end, southbound where you're creating content that attracts as many people as possible to your profile.
I love it. And you guys are basically pretty much all in on the strategy. So I think it's good for people that are used to walking indoors, used to calling people on the phone, used to emailing, hearing that this is another strategy that can still bring it all in. But you still have to do the other thing. You still call people, you still email, but this is probably the conversion much higher probably on this.
The thing is that, like, we're seeing and we're being reached out to a lot of people that they depended just on outreach, like outbound sales for a long time, whether it was cold calling or cold emailing or even cold messaging on LinkedIn. But because of the pandemic, a lot of people are not as open to that anymore, like responding to their email or answering the phone or whatever. So now they're like, oh, well, we really need, we need a presence. We need someone within our company to attract a lot of visibility. So then that's where we go in, especially for health and healthcare companies. We position their decision makers as industry authorities because it brings a lot of, opportunity, whether it be strategic partners with their colleagues or whether it be, patients, customers, whatever.
Yeah, and then we had a comment up there from Mathisa. She said that's a good tip about post consistency. So definitely, if you guys don't take anything from this, the Growth Academy will be a great way to kind of help you get from actionable steps from someone that's done it. Because there are a ton of courses out there, and I've seen the LinkedIn courses too, and they're kind of more academic. I don't think they're more so this is someone teaching it from the reality of the trenches. But what can they expect when they start the course? Like, do you have a fee structure, or is it do you kind of break down more for people?
So there's two options. It's $29 a month, or it's $249 for the year. And then they get the course, and then the live meetings, the daily notifications, and all that, and then get to be part of the text community, and it's just great. Like, people, they could go on and hear the testimonials from people that were in the first mastermind on how they grew and stuff like that.
Okay, that's on the website too. They can see that. So people go to the link down below. I'm doing my YouTube thing today. Go to the link down below and learn more about that. And one last thing, I'm gonna make sure you share people. So you're a mom, you run a business and do it all and make it look effortless. But talk about how doing this has improved your relationship with your daughter or changed your relationship. Because a lot of your posts talk about the day you quit was your employer said, like, hey, you got to be at work, and your daughter was sick. And that was the day you said, forget this, I'm done. So talk about how embracing this role and kind of running a business has helped your relationship with your daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to wake up in the morning and go to a job that I don't particularly like and do something that I don't particularly like all day to pick her up at, daycare at like 6 p.m. to have like 2 hours with her before she goes to sleep. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot more like, yes, we, Courtney does too. Like, we work like monsters, but we also, thank goodness, have the freedom that, if we need to take a week off or a few days off, like, we have that freedom to, to be there with our kids, and I'm more present with her, it's been great. Like, she's super blessed. And it also, like, when you kind of feel fulfilled and you're doing your best, I believe it's a great example for them, because if you're if you're selling yourself short every day, that's going to show up in any relationship that you have, whether that be with your children or with your significant other or with yourself, you know?
Well, thank you. You had a good blending with you, Courtney, and Joy. You guys are a good trilogy of people because of the energy balances out very well. I know Courtney's, we're taught to anybody, Joy's life at the party, you're kind of reserved, even though people don't know that, but just that synergy works very well for the three of you. Oh, and this is Courtney now. She's just spamming you guys. I don't know why her name's not showing up, but
I know, right? I know it was her, but I'm like, why does LinkedIn Live do that sometimes? It like removes people's name.
I think it's the privacy setting somewhere in the how your privacy shows. So Courtney, stop hiding from everybody. We know it's you. But I think it's a good matchup you guys had. Because when I saw you guys at the LinkedIn Meetup ATL, I could see it kind of in real life the combination of the three. Because there she goes spamming now.
That's funny.
I'm waiting for the jokes to come in, but no, it's great, and you're all moms, so I think it's good for women to see that because a lot of women they're in a situation where they can't think about what to do, whether it's at their corporate job, working at home, whatever. But the idea is that you guys kind of stood together as women and worked together, and I think it's important to see that, especially on LinkedIn. There is negative energy still on LinkedIn, so it's good to see you three kind of standing together, making this thing work.
Yeah, I just block negative energy.
It's a lot out there, but and I know you get a lot of the dumb guy messages on LinkedIn. So, and I appreciate you for being a friend because in this space where we're seeing people winning on LinkedIn all the time, it's important to be to talk to somebody about, hey, this is really hard. This is not as easy as it looks. So,
it is really hard.
Yeah, you're on up as much as I am, so I'm on there different hours of the day as well. So it does take work, people, but it does lead to positive results if your content's good. So please, one last plug for Growth Academy. When does it actually start? I know you said you did some test cases, but is it actually fully open?
Yeah, so it starts on Tuesday. Not tomorrow. It starts, the first live meeting is going to be September 15th.
All right, September 15th, people. So mark your calendars, go to the website. And does this link lead into like a registration?
Yeah, all of it's there. So if they just have to go to growthacademy.global and then .global and then like they'll see it, like they'll see the intro video, they can see the testimonials and like what to expect and everything.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you spending Labor Day with me because you're working just like I am. And
yes.
Kaliva said hi. Her daughter's about the same age, so I know she's a handful, probably running around somewhere in the house right now.
Yeah,
so,
well, thank you, Daryl.
No, thank you for coming on here. So, thank you, folks, for tuning in to Business with Benefits. We will catch you next time. Please wear a mask and be safe. And Georgia early voting starts October 12th. What's the early voting for Florida? Do you know when it is?
I have no idea. I'm bad at that.
I'm gonna help you find it because please, everybody go vote. It starts October 12th in Georgia.
I have to do all that.
Please go. If you're scared of the post office, go in person. It's not a big deal. Just go in person with early voting. The lines aren't as big. But we will catch you guys next.